to Freddy?
I'm not ready to Freddy got fingered, but I am ready to record this.
See, when someone says Freddy, in my mind, it goes to Freddy Fazbear, then to Freddy from Scooby-Doo, then to Freddy's Frozen Custard, and then it goes to Freddy got fingered. But you just start right at Freddy got fingered.
What's Freddy's Frozen Custard?
Oh, it's this restaurant we got near my place. It's pretty good. They got Steakburgers and they got the shoestring potato fries instead of the thick ones, which I love.
Thick shoestring potato fries?
I'll mail you a Steakburger.
You're like, okay, so you just shove it in a really tiny envelope and you're like, come on, get in there. And you just throw it in your mailbox.
Yeah. No,
you should,
I just tape the bag shut and then I put a stamp on it and then I write your address.
Yeah, that's what you should do that for a video.
Just mail you a Steakburger?
No, make that a little dumb skit in between it, okay, so Nolan, I gotta mail Nolan a Steakburger, hold on. You stamp it and then you write 1234 Nolan Street, Nolan, USA.
I might actually do that. That's not a bad idea.
And then you're just nice. And you shove it in your mailbox and you're like, no, and then here's the best part. After you end the video, there's a post-credit scene where you go to your mailbox and you're like, time to check the mail, and then the sandwich is returned to sender.
Or no, I get a sandwich from you. But it was shoved in my mailbox, and this gross, greasy sandwich just slides out and plops on the floor.
Yeah, and you're like, got me a sandwich from Burger King. Rude.
Okay, anyway, so before we start this thing, Nolan, are you familiar with Skyrim or any of the Elder Scrolls games?
I know of them. I don't know any of the lore, if that's what you mean.
I enjoy Skyrim, even though it has flaws, but I still like to mess around in there, and I even thought of taking a trip up to Skyrim at some point, and I figured that I'd stop by Solitude, but then I decided I should go elsewhere.
Okay, delete your channel, please.
I wrote that joke all by myself. A 100% Robo original.
I wouldn't act like that's something to be proud of.
You know
necessarily.
How long I spent on that Skyrim joke?
I would ask, but I took an arrow to the knee. That's how bad your joke was.
Married?
It was fuck off. You're the worst.
Okay, anyway, to start off, as I'm sure everyone knows at this point, Channel Awesome is maybe only the former word and not the latter, according to things that have come out. And
I think that's being too generous because that insinuates it's an actual functioning channel of content.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So Channel Awesome is now Dumpster Fire.
Basically,
that's
yeah.
What we're calling.
So there's plenty of videos where people read all the stuff in the document and they stipulate on it. So what I did is I went through the document and I saved a bunch of highlights and then I organized them so that they read and flow together. You see, I put them in categories so that way you can read them next to each other and they're around the same topic, that sort of thing.
I don't know if you're going to be posting the file extensions on the video, but some of them were labeled children 1 2 3 4 and then creepy 1 2 3 4, and I'm
I know. Like I said, I categorized them. What I'm thinking would be fun is if we just read them and we didn't stipulate on it, we just let it speak for itself. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm game. Are we going to just go back and forth?
Yeah. So do you want to do the honors?
Of course, although that's a old word, honor.
All right,
okay,
so go for it.
When Phelan finished an effect and sent it to Doug responds with, "Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it." Later, they asked Welshie to try and stealthily find out if Phelan was quote-unquote passing the effects, because I guess they wanted more debris in the shot. Welshie just directly goes to Phelan and tells him what they said. Phelan's feelings are hurt. All they had to do was tell him they wanted more debris instead of sneaking around.
Michelle waits until everyone leaves and I am alone on the Shut Up and Talk set to corner me and ask why I have so many mid-rolls on my videos. I tell him to make enough money to live. He says my use of mid-rolls, and Phelan's use, are causing people to put on ad block and affecting their revenue. Their revenue was down because they killed off their flagship show and sunk a bunch of money into a useless game show. He tells me people were complaining in the comments and he left the mean ones up as a hint to me, instead of, telling me like the CEO of the company should. He also lies and tells me other producers were complaining to him, which the others confirmed was not true.
At a later point in time, when I'm creating Rado reviews, I'm randomly told I need to ask them permission to do new shows. They had a rule in place for events such as filming a new show with your friends as the host, for example, but not anything like what I was doing. So I asked Rob for permission, and he seems to have no idea why I'm asking. Years later, Phelan is astounded to find out this list exists because no one who came onto the site before me got those rules or were told about them. The rules were arbitrarily enforced, and usually if they wanted an excuse to get rid of someone's anyway, at one point they sent a written reprimand to Welshie that was meant for Sad Panda because they couldn't tell the difference between them.
I can verify that even people who think they're cool in the eyes of management have had shit talked about them.
We continue to produce Nerd to the Third Power, hereafter referred to as N3, and brought in additional team members. We would produce a quote-unquote video version of the podcast to go on the site, as well as an MP3 download on the company FTP server for people to download and listen to. At the start, we had access to our viewership numbers via counters on the website, but these were eventually removed. When I asked Michelle for our subsequent numbers after the disappearance to gauge performance, I was consistently ignored until one time when I got a reply to the effect of, "Stop asking for your numbers. They suck anyway, because nobody comes here to listen to you."
I was on a Skype call with Michaud when he was explaining how to use the That Guy with the Glasses system when he casually mentioned that Dodd was going to be let go. Mike had to hear the news from me.
Doug asked if he could use the joke where Todd was stalking me in the movie, and his version me being a cold, heartless vacuum for turning down my stalker. I go on a date with him by the end.
Other than that, we were never asked for our input on the movie scripts. There was a scene in the script where it implies Mechakara is raping her off-screen, her referring to the nostalgia chick, and she and Lewis had to fight with them on set to say they wouldn't do it as scripted. It's still in the movie, but slightly different. Doug did not understand that it came off as offensive.
Mike messages me separately asking if I have time for a call. I tell him no, because I am very heated and don't want to talk in that state of mind. A couple hours later, I am away from the computer filming, and he and Doug message me for a call. After 15 minutes, Mike tells me because I'm ignoring them, they're taking me off the site. Note, this is the quickest they'd ever updated anything. He puts up a buried goodbye post, including the exits of Kyle and Andrew, for different but also crummy reasons, which begins by saying they would like to announce we're leaving. They misspell Phelan's name. That's the end of his 6 years and my 5 years there.
One of my earliest video series was titled Animation, a Children's Medium. Its intended purpose was to question whether or not animation was truly meant just for children, as is often perceived, or if it has commonly had a specific adult audience. I described this video to Mike Michaud as being something like a history of animation, but I didn't intend for it to be called as such. I just gave it that description so that he had a clear understanding in a brief amount of words as to what this project was. When the video was embedded into the site, it had been totally and completely mislabeled as A History of Animation, when the title of my video even came up near the beginning of the video and was not called this, so I knew that Michaud had not, in fact, watched my video. This led many viewers to be misled by the title and were angry directly at me for making a terrible video about the history of animation when that's not truly what the video was. When the subject came up in the That Guy with the Glasses forums, I explained to the people questioning this that there had been a miscommunication with Michaud about what the video was supposed to be, and that I would make sure he understood what it was next time. This led to Michaud reaching out to me on Skype to once again completely lose his patience at me and text shout at me something about making him look bad and or incompetent when it wasn't his fault. Being 22 at the time and not knowing how to handle such a situation when I was so happy to have been made an addition to the team, I buckled and apologized profusely, saying this was another misunderstanding and that I meant that I was the one who communicated badly and that I wouldn't let it happen again. I went further and said that since I kept messing up in his eyes, maybe I wasn't truly the right choice for a contributor to That Guy with the Glasses. Only after making myself look like a fool to him did he back off and leave the topic be. I have since wondered if he was just satisfied that he had successfully made me feel ashamed. Ugh,
Also,
oh,
quick.
God, reading that just, ugh.
Eventually, I decided I just couldn't wait any longer, and I left on my 9-year anniversary with Channel Awesome in September of 2017. I could no longer idly stand by and watch others and myself be affected by their poor management and direct abuses to many of my friends. I left a farewell song in the Channel Awesome group Skype chat and then removed myself from the conversation. Within a single hour of removing myself from the group chat, all of my content had been removed from the site. Unlike previous contributors who had received pleasant farewell messages from the administrators, no such farewell message was delivered to me. A contributor who had been there longer than 90% of their team and had been in every single anniversary movie. This was also how others were treated who were there either as long as me or a little longer than me, such as Linkara and Suede.
Mike Ellis was upset that I would not pursue a relationship with him, he was married, and that I brought certain severe mismanagement, legal boundary here, to light. In a previous meeting, there was nearly a fistfight between him and Michaud. I'm sad that I probably threw away the handwritten notes that were taken when Ellis was threatening to fire me. There were some real gems in there.
Shout out to my main girl, Holly.
Heck,
I was the only person asked to work every day of the year. I worked through weekends, holidays, vacations, days I had surgery, everything. Unless I could beg Michaud to do the daily site updates for me, I worked. I requested multiple times to be able to pre-schedule the update and was always told no. Hell, I once took a meeting on Christmas. I missed events with my friends for years and because they insisted on an evening upload time. Michaud was the only person other than me who knew how to update the site. There is literally no reason someone needs to sit in code for a daily update at the time of the update. Finally, they moved the update time, but they still wouldn't let me pre-schedule it. Do you know how hard it is to do a daily update at an exact time if you happen to have a doctor's appointment or a dentist visit in the Chicago area? It became such a long-running joke in my family that I was always working that my dad and his wife were stunned the first time I visited them and didn't even pack my computer. The day before I was let go, I had surgery, came home, and did the update. The next day, I was asked to drive to the studio against doctor's orders to be told I was no longer employed. I was not provided with a reason why I was let go. They didn't need to because Illinois is an at-will state. I think they had been preparing for it for a while because we had just signed contracts for the first time only a month or so prior. I assumed letting me have the surgery was a gift, but I would have liked a day to recover first. They had me sign another contract after I was fired because if I didn't sign, I wouldn't receive severance pay. The contract would bar me from working in the industry for 3 years. I could not be paid to consult, run a site, anything. My involvement with Nerdvice and Circle Plus couldn't make me money. I was scared of pursuing anything legal against them because I was chronically ill, unemployed, and they had recently accumulated $90K after their Indiegogo campaign. Doug was the deciding vote on my being employed. My life was ruined. I lost all of my friends. I had to leave Chicago. I didn't have a job, nor could I get one if you Googled me. It was rough for several years. I've really worked hard to make things better for myself, though, and I've been published on the Mary Sue and was a guest on the BBC NewsHour. Again, shout out to my main girl, Holly. You didn't deserve any of that. I love you.
please be well, Holly. I wish you the best of happiness.
The best of what?
Of happiness.
The best of happiness. The best.
Only the best of happiness. No, none of that low quality happiness. Only the best.
Organic, locally sourced in happiness farms.
Yeah. No, you're getting it.
No artificial happiness here. No, sir.
No way. I'm on a detox diet. I can only eat organic happiness. Or I can only feel organic happiness.
Wow. What's organic happiness to you?
I'll get back to you on that. Deciding to make my own movie and fashioning it off the style of the Channel Awesome anniversary movies with the other video producers in it, I launched a successful crowdfunding campaign and produced my own film for my web series. During production, as my assistant director and I worked to reduce costs for our budget, I realized that the studio space we needed could be made available by using the Channel Awesome studio. The studio I went with charged $1,000 per day for the use of their space. After 10 days, that naturally came out to $10,000 out of a $60,000 budget, just for that space. In addition, because of the close proximity of the studio to 3 of the actors, costs could be further reduced by not having to fly them out to Minnesota. I brought this information in my request to Mike Michaud and Rob Walker. Rob was amenable to the idea, but Michaud flat out refused. His reasoning was thus. It would interrupt the production of the Nostalgia Critic, someone would need to be with us to supervise us, I would have to get insurance to protect against damage to the studio. Those points are all ridiculous for a number of reasons. While production of the Nostalgia Critic could have been impacted, we would have been happy to spend some money to rent the space and make up for any lost revenue. The idea was to reduce our own costs, not spend nothing at all. In addition, not every Nostalgia Critic episode requires the use of the studio space. Simpler, less grandiose episodes could be made. Plus, Doug had done Nostalgia Critic for 5 years before without the use of the studio, and could simply film somewhere else in a manner that did not interrupt his video production. The idea that we would need to be supervised is insulting. We were all grown adults and do not require someone watching us at all times. It conveyed an idea that we were untrustworthy and could not act responsibly. The studio we did end up renting did not see any need to supervise us. The people who owned and worked at the studio normally simply staying in the office area to provide any assistance that we requested. The insurance request was not unreasonable. In fact, I ended up having to get insurance for the studio we did rent. However, Michaud listed this as a fact as a reason why we couldn't use the studio. That's especially confusing, since if he truly felt we were not responsible enough to use the space, then surely getting the insurance would cover any potential risk. To be fair, it is entirely likely that using the studio would have not been a viable solution anyway, since the movie involved complicated sets that would need to be transported down from Minnesota at great cost of time and labor with no way to transport them back again for later use. However, the fact that Michaud was not even willing to humor the idea or discuss it any further demonstrated an unwillingness to work with us, compromise, or negotiate to make things easier.
Michaud was going to have me fired for criticizing the site. I told him that no, I would quit on my own terms, in my own time, or else I would go public with the chat logs I had of their abuse. They were 100% going to fire me for basically saying the site had issues in public at all, but they crumpled like wet cardboard when I told them it wasn't going to happen without me publicly destroying their reputations as much as I could, though.
Removed from schedule access after being 1 day late with a video due to wife's medical emergencies, despite having provided 4 videos to the site in the previous month, and never having missed a regularly scheduled post for over 5 years.
Jesus. We would schedule our shows months in advance. On numerous occasions, we would schedule an episode, and then the day it was supposed to go out, we would find that our show had been replaced with something else. Typically, this was a Linkara, Joe, or Spoonie video, or a special vid put out by the site management. At no point would we receive any warning the show was being replaced, and we would have to reschedule the episodes ourselves. And because at this point the schedule was full up months in advance, that meant it would have to be scheduled 3 to 4 months down the line. The worst this got was in the 1 year. It happened 3 times, so every episode that came out that year would actually be 3 or 4 weeks old because we'd been preempted so much. This happened mainly when Michaud was doing the site updates, but it also happened on 2 occasions when Holly Brown was doing the site updates, although when she preempted us, she would put our show up on the next day's rotation with proper placing on the new content slider and side panel. There were also a number of occasions when I would find that our entire rotation of episodes on the back-end site were deleted off the calendar.
In January of 2014, Justin Jew Warrior Carmichael died by self-inflicted gunshot. Carmichael was a much-loved and respected member of the community. I personally didn't know him very well, again, because no one was willing to talk to me, but I thought it would be a nice thing to do a kind of online wake, where we would just bring everyone together who wanted to be there to say a few words about Justin. I didn't see anyone else talking about the idea, so I approached Michaud with the... Damn it, now I'm doing it. So I approached Michaud with the idea. In a rather, in hindsight, out-of-character moment, he got back to me immediately, and I presented him the idea. He said, "Well, you're not going to have to worry about that, Gonzo." So my first thought is that he's already got something planned, but then he follows that up with, "Nobody knows who you are. They won't care about anything you're going to put together. We're going to have Doug or Lewis or someone put something together. Someone people actually come here to see." And I sat there, stupefied. I couldn't believe that he said that. Not just that he flat out said that to me, but that he'd said that about a plan to let people mourn a loss. And I realized that Mike Michaud never cared about anyone beyond what use he could get out of them. Oh, he would put together a Justin Carmichael tribute, but it wouldn't be about the loss. It wouldn't be about letting people grieve. To him, it was just another piece of content, something he could make money off, even if only indirectly. I could even see his thought process. What's the only thing that sells better than sex? Death. He was thinking someone who'd never heard of Channel Awesome finding this tribute and going, "Oh, someone on this site killed themselves? What's that about? And what's this website he worked on?" It was never about the loss. It was about promoting the brand. That was the moment I realized Michaud was not, and never was, a man to be trusted. And that was the moment I knew my days with Channel Awesome were numbered.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof.
We said we wouldn't react, but...
There are some of these, there's just no way we can't, you know?
Yeah. Oh, God, it feels like a punch to the gut. Compensation to Blistered Thumbs writers came only in the form of the occasional review copy of a game. No actual paid compensation. Those who were video producers, like myself, received nothing. Like all CA contributors, we were paid in quote-unquote exposure. BT eventually died due to neglect from CA management. Because of this, it is difficult for those who worked there to use their experience with BT as a business reference to gain paid work. In other words, the quote-unquote exposure did not work the way the contributors had hoped.
The project I most regret was To Boldly Flee. It made my discomfort with Doug's expectations known before I set foot in Chicago, so this should come as a surprise to no one. As has been discussed elsewhere, my character's name, a parody of 7 of 9, was originally 60 of 9. Doug didn't see why this might raise hackles. My biggest objection was the outfit I was expected to wear. I had no say on the fact that Doug wrote my character based on 7 of 9, and that I had to dress like that character. The worst, of course, was the transformation scene, which was just an extended rape joke. Lewis and I talked about it between each other weeks before the shoot. Lewis actually reached out to me with his concerns as I had not read the script yet, and explained our objections to Doug together. Doug's solution was, rather than rewrite it, have a toned-down version in the final cut in which I make comical sexual assault noises instead of the original script as written. In effect, it was not changed, and is still an extended rape joke, just perhaps less overt.
Doug knew nothing, tech-wise, to the point of endless frustration. He didn't know how to record commentaries. He would just have people in Chicago sit close to the camera and record it on the onboard mic. When we had to record the Moulin Rouge commentary over Skype, he asked me to sit in and record it. I was not part of the Moulin Rouge crossover. He just wanted me to press record and sit there. Phelan called him up and explained, step by step, how to use MP3 Skype recorder, which requires a simple press of a button to use. He ended up calling Nash and having him record it.
They didn't turn searchability off, so their internal site comes up on Google. I can still use my access info and get in because they never changed it.
The internal site, I think, was a really old, really outdated internal site thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Joomba,
Yeah.
or
one of those, like, WordPress, like, templates.
Fucking tragic. When Mike is looking for a site designer, the first people he asks are the ones who designed the White House webpage. They quote him $50,000. So he goes with a $100 template.
What the fuck were you expecting, man? I'm sorry, but, like, what the fuck were you expecting? Oh my god.
I'm gonna be fair. Even I don't think a site design could be that expensive, but then again, it's the guy who designed the White House website. So.
You also gotta take into account that it's not just, like, what the overall site, but also the amount of time they would need it in. So, like, this person didn't specify how much time he was giving them. So, like, if he was like, hey, I need this website up, and I want it super nice and professional, and I'm only giving you a week to do it, then I think that would be worth $50,000.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, knowing Mike Bouchard like we do, we have salad with him twice a week. He probably did that to the web designer.
I wouldn't be surprised. He fucking, like, eats the lettuce with his salad like a fucking troglodyte. Everyone knows spinach is superior. Salad is water and iron. Spinach actually has the nutrients you need.
I mean, some lettuce is better than others. If you're having iceberg lettuce, you are basically eating nothing but water, so...
That's true.
What about kale? You like kale?
I'm okay with kale. I mean,
I had a frozen Amy's...
I really like cabbage. I actually think it tastes good, but spinach is superior health-wise.
Oh, no, it is. I don't like really dark greens, though, because they start tasting like grass, and it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't you eat grass? Like, you can eat grass, but, like, why isn't it nutritious?
Because it contains silicone.
What's silicone? Like, the stuff in titties? Fake titties?
Yeah. Like, it will permanently fuck up your teeth. Do not eat grass.
But it looks so good.
You're not a horse, Nolan. Don't eat the grass.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, stop eating that grass.
No, fuck off. Leave me alone.
No, stop eating the grass. I'm gonna knock it off the table.
Bitch.
Don't eat grass. Anyway.
Alright. Continue. I'm snacking here.
The site lost a bunch of stuff in 2010 or 2011 because it only existed on a single drive.
Sidebar. In our animation classes, the teachers drill into our heads repeatedly to have stuff saved on multiple drives. Thumb drives, portable hard drives, virtual drives. Save as much and as many copies as you can. This also this happens like all the time because Toy Story 2 would have ceased to exist had a pregnant worker not taken copies home with her to work on.
Yeah.
So
save your shit.
For a long while, the Channel Awesome forums only had one moderator, Matthew Buck, aka Film Brain, while others like Mike Michaud had administrative access. They did not handle any day-to-day moderation on the forums. This grew to be an increasing problem as the site's popularity expanded. More people coming on at all hours of the day, and some people acting inappropriately, or a growing number of bots needed more active moderation to be combated. However, despite several pleas, these requests went unanswered. For a time. At one point, I commented on the forum about the lack of moderation and how disappointed I was in that. Unceremoniously and without asking if it was a job I wanted, I was made one of the moderators. Despite my outrage at what had happened, I decided it would be best to try to fix things, particularly for the new producers who had only more recently signed on. After all, many of them wanted to be on the site because it involved working with other producers they had admired, and I didn't want to give the impression the ship was sinking. I outlined a few complaints I had for the management, as well as several ideas I had for improving the site as a whole. These ideas included improved communication with producers, a dedicated social media person, have the social media link on the sidebar of the site promoting not just Doug's work, but various producers, reduce wasteful spending, opening the CA studio to be rented by other video producers, less charity drives where people are flown out, etc., bring back the anniversary movies, in particular paying for them through the use of crowdfunding campaigns. The site itself had a successful campaign, and other producers had also launched independent projects. A larger, more deliberate presence at conventions to promote the site. Release information on what the higher-ups at the company do, since there was a perception that Mike Michaud didn't actually do anything at the company other than issue orders, and overall of the comment section, and reduce the amount on the site, or at least reorganize the sidebars to promote producers or new videos, so it's the first thing people see instead of ads. All of these ideas were rejected, save for doing more anniversary movies. Although they never truly came to pass aside for the 10th anniversary, the thing repeated over and over in response to each of these ideas was, it's our site, we'll do what we want. The final point I made to him was that, in light of what had happened with Allison's quote-unquote firing, I told Mike point-blank that the incident had made me lose respect for him. His answer was a terse, okay, that 10th anniversary, are you excited?
Oh, man. I'm so hyped.
Dude, 10 years of fucking mediocrity, I can't wait for it all to come crashing down.
Woo! London Bridge is falling down, falling down.
That's an insult to London Bridge.
You're right. I'm sorry, London Bridge.
Bridge Constructor 2005 is falling down. Bridge Constructor 2005 is falling down.
I gotta read this. Phelan received a reprimand for tweeting a joke making fun of the demo reel twist by saying he was going to reveal Phalis was Sub-Zero the whole time. He was told to apologize to Doug personally.
That reminds me of like grade school shit, like Jimmy.
The fucking teacher like pulls you out of the class with the person you're arguing with, and she's like, "Okay, apologize."
I'm sorry, Toe. Except in Doug's case, he's like, "I hope you learned the error of your ways."
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I regret that you feel that way, Phelan. August 2013, CA uses Indiegogo to crowdfund $90,000 for their pop culture game show, Retro Pop Culture Challenge, later Pop Quiz Hotshot, a comic review show, Awesome Comics, and another game show revolved around video games, The Gaming Gauntlet. 40-something episodes were promised of Pop Quiz Hotshot. CA films at least a dozen versions of the pilot and test episodes. Some of them include the same questions/contestants. The refilming is due to the studio not being sound dampened. Because of this, they filmed Nostalgia Critic episodes in the office, where it is smaller and there's less echo. They tried to rate the questions so the contestant would win, but accidentally switched the cards so it went to Doug. Doug splits the prize, a $100 gift card. Ooh. They had to be told by Holly to have prizes. The game show, to no one's surprise, was Bashad's idea, and no one else wanted to do it. So I gotta get a little, I'm apple-lipping a little here, gotta get a little creative, spice it up.
It's my game show and I want it now! That's my Michelle impression.
Also, quick sidebar, what was he expecting? Nobody watches game shows anymore.
No one does.
Except old people who public access television. Game shows were made simply to fill fucking time. Game shows were made back when this things like this were possible and oh man, I could win this much money by answering trivia or whatever. Yeah, now nobody gives a shit.
Game show. Well, actually, I wanted to make a game show. It was going to be called Cooking Drama, and it'd be every episode I'd try to translate the Cooking Mama games into real life and see if they can actually pull off making the dish that way.
Well, that's like a reality. That's like a reality game show, like Chopped or Kitchen Nightmares or Hell's Kitchen.
It'd be like a cooking. It was gonna be like a cooking show, and
I'm talking about things like Jeopardy or a Trivial Pursuit
no one
or something
gives a shit about those.
Reality game shows are about it's the same with wrestling, and it's about the characters and not the actual competition or prize.
Yeah.
It's about character arcs. Here, they just straight up want to do, if they wanted to do a reality game show, that would be one thing, but they just wanted to do, Jeopardy, and they decided the best way to do that was by getting a fucking dollar store game.
Yep.
And using
I can't believe that's real.
Please just play the clip over us talking about
where
it.
Where they're zooming in on the fishing thing, and it's oh man, go for it! And they're trying to make it seem epic, but it's this teeny tiny fishing toy on a big table that makes it look even smaller.
Yeah, don't even put in the sound. It's just us just chatting, and then oh god, it's so sad. It's so tragic. Nobody gives a shit. Oh, go ahead, you.
I never received a To Boldly Flee DVD. Neither did many fans who bought them, because they messed up the orders and it was never fixed.
Oops. Before filming, Doug offhandedly mentions one of the questions will be what I base my funny voice on.
This is from Curious Lupa, just so you know.
Don't you ever cut me off, ever again. Do you understand me?
Not when you're doing that voice.
I was quoting Most Popular Girls in School.
Oh.
Or Brittany cuts Mackenzie off and she goes, "Don't you ever cut me off again."
Oh, yeah.
I love that show. Same. It's the best YouTube show, hands down. Better than Nostalgia Critic, that's for sure. Hey,
yay.
Topical.
Has a better plot.
True. I'm glad I got this. I'm glad I got this one though. Okay, let me just start over.
Oh yeah, this is one of the best ones.
Before offhandedly mentions one of the questions will be what I base my quote-unquote funny voice on, I tell him it's based on nothing. It's just me. When we begin filming, he again asks me what I base my voice on. I reiterate that it's not based on anything. I'm just doofy sometimes. He makes fun of me for using the word doofy because he's never heard it before and doesn't seem to believe me when I say I'm not imitating someone. The concept of comedy that is not directly ripping something off is baffling to him.
And when you're reading that part, I'm going to have it slowly scale up until it consumes the screen.
Add in a slight reverb, a very, very barely noticeable one just to get emphasis.
Yeah.
To my voice, yeah. God damn it. This motherfucker.
I know. I was HR for the company. They barely listened to me. 5 at a time, maybe? That's probably generous. In general, only when production was failing behind or on an anniversary and they needed advice from someone who actually got a degree in directing and stage management.
Interesting. Yes, I keep getting good ones. Mike Ellis got fired, and CA put me in a safe house for a few days.
Oh, this is a really good one.
Yeah, that's what you get for making me read all the long ones. CA put me in a safe house for a few days because they were concerned he would come after me. Nothing was more strange than being escorted to my house with a group of guys with baseball bats and a sword so I could pack. Pretty sure I even grabbed a golf club to be able to go up to my bedroom. We all got pepper spray after that. To inject a bit of humor in the horror, I wish I could remember who carried the sword. I want to say Doug, but I'm pretty sure it belonged to Rob. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure it was Doug who tested the pepper spray by spraying it into the kitchen sink. It did not go well.
I just imagining like the opening cinematic for Left 4 Dead 2, you know, where it's like the group of survivors fighting zombies with like golf clubs and shit, except this fucking Doug Walker. This is some weird.
Hey guys, anybody who knows how to 3D model and rig, do a nostalgia critic for Left 4 Dead, please.
Hell yes.
Also, again, this is another one from Holly. Holly, I'm so sorry. I love you.
So sorry, Holly. Hashtag Holly deserved better. Get that trending.
No. Hashtag justice for Holly.
Hashtag justice for Holly.
Change the channel. Hashtag change the channel. Change the channel awesome because fucking sucks.
Doug's style of directing is to tell us to do it more like him. If we pointed out we wouldn't deliver a line like that, he'd tell us we'll try it both ways, so he could use that take of us doing it his way. We'll try it both ways became a running joke.
It was embarrassing when we were filming in the park and Doug would start giving directions to passersby like they were part of the production.
God damn it, you got my favorite one. Hey, the dog, slow the fuck down. I'm trying to film a movie here. Also, for context, this is
Suburban Nights,
aka the one where they're all LARPing. So if you can imagine Douglas Darian Walker in his Link costume with his ball sack hanging out, directing passerbys and telling them what to do while they just stare bewildered at him.
Like a woman's walking by with her kid and she sees Doug and she walks faster.
Yeah. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Huh? What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
God damn it. I'm pretty sure this fucking document has so many fucking energies in it. So many negative energies in it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna manifest as an SCP. Just saying.
SCP number 1130, the Channel Awesome Manifesto.
I'm sure it's gonna happen. God damn. 4 people total were injured during the movie, and no safety precautions were ever put in place. Liz and Bennett were both hurt during stunts with Orlando, and Orlando himself landed on his neck wrong. This was included in a blooper reel. Eliza was taped to the wall in a cross position, and because she was there for so long, she passed out.
This happened in The Room, too, by the way, a movie that Doug notoriously criticized.
Yeah. So.
Good job, Doug.
The disaster movie, too. It's this time about the production of To Boldly Flee. Or The Disaster Artist, too.
I do want that. I do want a movie based on this.
That would be so beautiful.
James Franco, this is your next project. Hurry the fuck up. Chop chop. Whenever anything happened like bad continuity, Rob would just say, "Oh well, plot hole."
One day, the camera crew had to go home early for personal reasons, so they told Doug early in the day that would be the case. He forgot to tell anyone, so at the end of the day, we didn't have enough cars to take everyone back to the hotel/dinner. Phelan, Julian, and I got left behind while everyone else went to Applebee's. This one makes me so sad.
Okay, well, let me put it to you this way: Would you rather be with them at Applebee's or by yourself?
But it's never fun to be left behind, even if it's by someone you don't like. Just knowing that they don't even consider you. It's just
okay, but again, Applebee's.
My heart.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I agree with you though, but still Applebee's.
Allison, that's Obscurus Lupus' real name. Allison, Phelan, Julian, you guys, if you ever end up near Austin, hit me up. I'll take you to Applebee's. We'll make this happen, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let's all go to Applebee's. So, Robo, do you have a card? Go to Applebee's. I don't have any money. I don't get paid.
Damn it. Okay, fine.
Sweet. Nolan and Robo go to Applebee's with the X Channel Awesome crew.
Alright, this is yours.
I know. Ed, who was a cameraman and credited as DP, he asked them not to, by the way, pointed out during a scene with Brad they were breaking the 180 rule. Quick sidebar again. The 180-degree rule, for those who aren't in the know, is a rule in filmmaking where if you're filming between two subjects, there's an invisible line between them. You put your camera on one side of the line and you stay that way until you either break the scene or you cut to a different shot, say like an insert shot, for example. So like, it's the first thing you're taught in filmmaking. It's one of the very first things.
Like, I think the best way to explain it is that you got two characters in the shot. You got character A and character B. Character A is on the left and character B is on the right. No matter where you move the camera, you have to make sure that character A stays on the left and character B stays on the right. Otherwise, you'll disorient the audience.
You won't always disorient them, but it'll also just look bad.
Yeah, it also, even if you don't disorient them, it just straight up does not look nice.
Again, this is the very first thing you're taught.
Yeah. I haven't even been to film school and I know this. Like,
yeah. It's one of the most basic rules to know, and this is their fourth year of making movies, and they still don't know it.
Yep.
Sidebar over, let me continue. Alright, let me start over again. Pointed out during a scene with Brad they were breaking the 180-degree rule. Cue 10-minute argument. Ed furiously says they either want it to look right or look wrong. He vows to never to work with them again.
Good choice.
And so do many other people.
Good choice.
Ed, if we ever meet in real life, I mean, it's not likely or anything, but I'm giving you a high five.
And let me just say this right here, right now. Okay, so I come from like a film family. Like everyone in my family, like my immediate family, except for me, either studies film, works in film, or is planning on working in film. So I've got to meet like a lot of film crews, and I know a lot of how the ins and outs of that work. You have to be really fucking shitty for a grip to be like, I'm not going to work with you anymore. Because for the most part, it's just like, whatever. A job's a job. I need the work. You have to be the fucking worst for a crew member to not want to work with you. To just straight up deny that money because that's how much they don't want to deal with you. Holy shit. There was a scene with a bunch of the cast passed out on top of each other on the floor, so they called a bunch of them into the basement to film it and kept them there even when they weren't shooting. Eventually, someone asks Ed if they're even on camera, and he says no. They had Phelan's foot in one shot.
GG, Doug Walker. One day was an 18-hour shoot, and the next day, after 3 hours sleep, we were asked to film the big party scene. They asked us to film 2 different endings despite being overscheduled and exhausted. Once that is over, they want to film a green screen bit with Phelan. Phelan points out he can film it at home, which would save them time they didn't have. And after waiting forever, they say yes. We're driven to the hotel to sleep, and our heads barely hit the pillow when my phone rings. They want Phelan to shoot the green screen part. He is the angriest I've ever seen him. We make it to the lobby where Rob is waiting to drive us back, and make it halfway down the road while explaining the situation before Rob makes a quote-unquote executive decision to drive us back to the hotel. They never asked him to film the green screen bit, and it's not in the film.
Yeah, once again, I know shit about how films work. People get pissed for giving them like a 12-hour shift. Like, that alone gets people pissed. An 18-hour shoot is fucking insane.
It's not unprecedented, though, I'm assuming. It's, like, frowned the fuck upon.
It happens sometimes. Usually only assholes do it. Either you're assholes, or you're desperate, or it's the 48-hour film festival.
Or you're a big studio person with a lot of pull, and you don't want to lose a big ticket. I'm assuming.
No.
Not even then?
No.
Wow. That's really bad.
That's how unprecedented it is. Even, like, desperate studio execs wouldn't do that because it's just that shitty of a thing to do.
So what you're saying is, even the greedy, sexually assaulting, money-grubbing fuckers in Hollywood will not do what the Walkers did to the crew of To Boldly Flee.
No way, no producer would be down for that. Like, that, then, like, the crew's gonna be fucking pissed. They're never gonna put out good work if you put them through that.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that's really fucking bad.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. Like, I thought like an 18-hour was like a crunch time like exception. Like, oh man, we really need to film this. We're having trouble here. We gotta.
No, 12-hour is a crunch time. 18-hour is fucking madness. Cause like okay, I have worked a set or two before. Like just cause mom's like, hey, it's a low budget film. I need your help. And I mean, I haven't done anything like super important, but I've done stuff before, and it's like the most exhausting thing in the fucking world. I usually don't even help for long. I'm usually just on set for like a few hours to help move stuff, and even then, it feels like you've been up for days when you're done. Like working on a film set is one of the most exhausting jobs on the fucking planet. Because like you're carrying all this equipment, there's like electrical wires everywhere. You gotta make sure the lighting's just right. You know, you gotta make sure everyone's positioned correctly. You gotta keep the fuck away from the camera, because if you can see the camera can see you. Like, do not look. Like, if you can see the camera lens, then get the fuck out, because that means the camera can see you too. It's
That sounds like a horror thing. Like,
yeah.
Damn.
It's really fucking difficult working on a film set. It's crazy exhausting, especially when it's a low budget shoot like this and you don't even have like the most professional equipment. 18 hours is, like I said, it's just absolute madness.
You should like bring your mom into your like room and tell her about this and get a reaction.
Dude,
that'd be funny.
I can actually do that. You want me to do that?
Yes, do it.
Yeah.
Right now, I want to hear it live.
I'll go get her. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, Nolan. I brought my mom's. Mom, say hi to Nolan.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, Mom. So, go ahead and read this and give me your. Or actually, not just. Here's a better one. So read this and give your 2 cents on this.
They broke the 180?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's bad. Can't do that unless you look into a mirror and you flip the 180 that way, like Orson Welles, but you can't break the 180. You can't edit it together.
And keep in mind, this was the 4th movie they'd shot at this point.
Well, there's a lot of amateurs that shoot a lot of films, but that doesn't mean that the filmmakers, there's a lot of them here in Austin that do that.
That's true. Next up, there's this one.
Well, that's really unprofessional. They were extras, or were they cast?
No, they were the cast.
Yeah, well, that's poor planning, and that's unprofessional because they probably didn't know if they were going to need them or not, if they were going to be in the shot or not, because they weren't organized, and they didn't do a shot list, and they didn't have a storyboard, they didn't have an AD that calls actors only to the set on the days that they're on, and the day out of days schedule. Like
everyone was always on the. Like, there was one dude who only appeared in one scene in the film, but they flew him out for the entire shoot.
So that's super unprofessional. So, first of all, why hire somebody and then you have to fly them all the way out? You're wasting resources. Cast locally if you have a low budget. But secondly, we have something called a day out of days. And that tells you what days you're on and what days you're off. So you can plan other work around that. You're an actor. Just because you're working on that film doesn't mean you're not picking up a commercial somewhere or doing something else. Or maybe you have personal business. So you let people know what days that they're on. And then you plan your food around that. So why call all the actors to set if you're only going to shoot out 2 or 3 of them? You have to feed all of these people.
They had to be told by the crew that they needed craft services.
Well, craft services just snacks. Then you have
to
have catering.
That and water. Like, they had to be told that they needed to.
But these are water. Obviously just amateurs. They're complete.
They
don't know anything about filmmaking.
Yeah, they also had a shot in the desert, the Nevada desert, and they had to be told they needed to provide water.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would have walked off that set. I don't know why the people stayed.
Alright, and then this is like...
Okay, an 18-hour shoot. So here's the rule of thumb. Anything past 12 hours is crap. No matter how... If you start working the crew past 12, you might have 14-hour shoot shifts, but that's because you're comprehending load in and load out at different locations. But anything past 12 hours, everybody knows is crap. It doesn't matter how much longer you shoot, everything else is just going to fall apart because people are tired, dehydrated, brains aren't working.
I love your mom
3
so
hours
much.
Sleep, I don't know why anybody would work on this film anyways. I mean, first of all, maybe people are working on it to get experience, but the thing of it is, and I tell people this all the time, you don't get any quality experience working on low budget productions with people that don't know what they're doing because you're not learning anything. You have to go and work and intern on actual film projects that find your way in. Because all of these people did is waste their time. They don't have anything for their reel. I can't imagine they got paid. They probably got paid crap. And it's just an awful experience.
Because these are all internet reviewers that are doing this. One of the things that they did, part of the contracts they had to sign for these anniversary films, said that they had to shoot crossover reviews with like the other reviewers that were there, but then the money that those crossovers make had to go into recouping the costs for the film. So it's like they weren't just not being paid; they were basically paying the producers to be on the film.
They made the decision to do this. They shouldn't have done that. That's wrong. But a lot of times people would think, "Hey, this could be a big break. This could really make it happen." To me in my career, it's lesson learned for them. The most important thing they took from this is that they got exploited and they had to work for free. And this, the thing is it's basically these people are saying, come and work for nothing so that you can make me rich. There's nothing in it for the people that are crewing it. There's nothing in it for the people that are working on it. They're not learning anything. They're not making any contacts. It's not going to roll into any other job. They don't have anything in their reel. They can't point to something and say, look at this experience I have. Because if you tell anybody that you worked on something like this, no one's going to hire you on anything legit because they're going to think you're just an amateur. So all around, it was bad. So that's the thing. Sometimes it's good to say no. Unless you're getting paid just a stipend. You can get paid a stipend, intern. Make sure you work on something that you're going to learn some. Feel bad for those people.
Oh, yeah. All right, so one more thing. Can you repeat what you were telling me when I told you that they shot this 4-hour film in a week?
Well, if anyone came to me and said they wanted to shoot a 4-hour film in a week, how many pages is that? 4 hours. Think about that. That's like 240 pages. So how many pages a day? You can't shoot any more than 10 pages a day of a script and have any kind of quality. And then if I found out they had low budget, they probably didn't have the right equipment.
They only had one camera.
And I doubt they had any type of camera support equipment, ACs, or any type of comprehensive crew. I wouldn't do it. When I was younger, I would work on a lot of stuff where I'd go out and work and get below minimum wage, but at least I would get paid. And I knew there was somebody on that job that I was like, I want to work with them because I know they can hook me up on some other job and I can get on this film or I can do that project. And slowly and incrementally, that's how everybody gets ahead. But working on something like this, I work for my friends, but no friend would ever ask somebody to do this. This is beyond a favor. You don't ask your friends to do this because then they'll never be your friends.
That's what wound up happening.
To move a body, then to work, shoot a 4-hour film in a week. An airport pickup is better.
All right, so thank you, Mom.
All right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, darling. Good night.
All right, so that was my mom.
I love your mom so much. She's great.
Thank you.
She has a nice accent. She sounds exactly like somebody from a talent agency or something like that, from a sitcom or something.
Oh crap! You're right. I never even realized that. But yeah, so you heard it live from an actual film professional, been in the industry for 30 years. This production is fucked.
Yeah, I'd say so. That was very insightful. You know what?
What?
You know what?
What?
It's over.
It's over?
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Over.
Oh, this one makes me feel bad too. And I have a sidebar for it after I read. Many of us were expected to make our own costumes for the anniversary films, myself included. And in most instances, we were not paid for the creation of these costumes, if we were deemed capable of making/bringing them with us. Before filming To Boldly Flee, I was asked initially to make a costume of Leela from Futurama. Luckily, I did not make it far in the construction of this costume because I was receiving an email from Doug saying that I needed to make a costume of Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell standalone complex and a very specific outfit of hers. There was only a couple of weeks left before the shooting of the movie, and I had to make some expensive and fast purchases to throw it together in time. We were told that if we made our costumes ourselves during Typical Leafly, they would pay us for the construction of the costume if we met two conditions. One, we had to provide receipts of the materials used to make the costumes, and two, we had to turn our costumes over to Channel Awesome. I was frustrated with the idea and decided I wanted to keep the Major Kusanagi costume for myself. It meant taking a financial loss, but I was not happy that I would have to hand over a costume I had to both make and wear myself. Let me do a sidebar here. This was something brought up in Frederick Nudson's Down the Rabbit Hole stream, where he read this behemoth of a document by himself in 4 hours, which is about as long as To Boldly Flee, mind you.
And a far better experience, because Frederick Nudson has, like, I don't know, he's not even, like, a particularly jovial person, but something about his voice just unlocks the hidden serotonin in my brain. Like, I feel like if Frederick Nudson talked to me long enough, he'd cure my depression.
Honestly, I totally agree. Frederick Knudsen, hey man, thank you. Just thank you. That's all we have to say. Just thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're great. You're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweaty. But also, the sidebar I wanted to bring up was such. Channel Awesome wants them to hand over these costumes, right? In reality, that's not what they care about. They just don't want to pay for the fucking things. Yep. So they say, oh, we'll pay for it, but, you have to hand it over to us. That costume you made and fit to your own specifications that we could probably never use again. Yeah, we're gonna keep it. Yeah, but we'll pay you back.
Yeah.
So it's just like a fucking manipulative tactic, just to not get them to pay.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It really is. It's nuts. After we finished filming during the week of To Boldly Flee, more like, I want to boldly flee from this fucking set. I just now realized that was a joke I could have made. Anyway,
wow.
A wrap party was held at a pub nearby the hotel we've been lodged at. We paid for our own meals. At this party, Doug Walker handed out individually addressed letters to each member of the cast that was there, which seems like a nice enough gesture, but the finality of the letters indicated that Doug did not intend to continue to create anniversary videos, nor did he intend to utilize us again. It was obvious that we were considered obsolete to him at this point, and that perhaps we were just expected to go on about our own lives without him, considering the consequences for everyone for what he was about to do.
Another sidebar. This one kind of reads, I don't know what to make of this one. I don't think Doug was being outwardly malicious. It just sounds more ignorant, thanks, guys.
I don't think he was being stupidly inconsiderate. But he wasn't trying to piss people off.
Yeah, he wasn't, trying to be vindictive like Mike. He's just stupid, which is the real takeaway, honestly. Yeah. But continue. The earliest instance I can remember of something being quote-unquote off is during filming of Suburban Nights, where producers were mocked for wanting craft services and even water on set. Most of us were not being paid, and the organizers not just refusing but scoffing at the idea of fulfilling basic cast and crew needs was concerning. This was after Kick-Assia, where they had the same problem.
Mm-hmm. Except that in that one they were in the fucking desert.
Yeah, lesson not learned.
First of all, I do feel like the way management approached the anniversaries from the get-go was inappropriate in a way that was never rectified. I was in my third semester at USC when the second anniversary happened, and the first real moment of concern came at the hotel in Reno on the set of Kick-Assia, when Doug was explaining the schedule, and I asked a logical question, namely, what his plan was for craft services. Doug actually laughed at me like I was some princess expecting special treatment. Noah Antweiler, who was also there, explained that craft services is generally a given at any shoot, even student films. Only then was the suggestion taken seriously.
This was a set with more than 30 people, and they did not have food or water until they were told to do so. To my memory, they didn't get around to it until day 2. To be clear, inexperience was not the issue, arrogance was. Everyone who gets into film has a learning curve, but Doug & Co. barged in like they had nothing to learn, and this resulted in a variety of issues, from not bothering to secure permits or even learn shooting location hours, or to multiple injuries on the set, quote-unquote, set of this To Boldly Flee. They never secured production insurance. Ed Glaser and I had to step in to help during the Suburban Night shoot, which had next to no planning. They never hired stunt people. The whole experience was unprofessional and irresponsible. As for legality, I'm not positive, but this wasn't illegal so much as grossly unprofessional given how much money was involved. This would have broken the rules of every guild on Earth, but this was not a union set, so what are you going to do?
Oh, hey, we finished it. That was the last one.
Oh.
That was for the highlights. And now you get to look at this cat.
Hi! Where's your little good kitty?
That was just like a quick, like a sampler platter of the fucking delicacies you can find when you read that document. Like, holy shit. Like I said, it'll probably spawn an SCP, but I got like fucking 5 curses on me already, so it's like, what's one more, you know? Anyway, a good read. Highly recommended. Also, something I very, very highly recommend. Former producers on That Guy with the Glasses, like Obscurus Lupa and Phalis, and I think Brad Jones was there too, did a commentary on To Boldly Flee where they talked more about the shit that happened while they were filming, and also just made like really funny jokes, and I love it. The audio's a little bit out of sync, so like, yo, Lupa or Phalis or whoever owns that video, like, if y'all don't have the time to sync it up, and I understand if you don't, you're busy people, like, shoot that shit my way, dude. I'll totally fix it to you. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to credit me. I just really like that commentary, and I want people to enjoy it, because it's really fucking funny.
It is. Just listening to them tear apart the fucking movie. Oh, God.
My favorite part was when they were shooting Linkar on the floor, and they were doing, like, the voices, like, hey, should we take the trash bag out of the shot? Nah,
I know, I love that, too. I love it, too. Oh, jeez. God, what awful. Just awful.
Just awful. Okay, so that way we can actually get, like, more than, like, 2 episodes out of a session. I outlined some talking points for this one, and one of the things that I did, and that I'm hoping we can do for future Dumb Words episodes, is that I told people to tweet on the hashtag Dumb Words and suggest conversation topics. So now we're going to check out the hashtag and see what some of the topics are and pick one and extrapolate on it. Like,
talk about crazy childhood stories, like weird stuff that happened to you that you'll never forget. Yeah, you got anything?
Yeah. When I was a tiny babu, I was too young to go to school, but my sister went to like this Christian private preschool thing, and one of the instructors there told her that she had black sin running through her veins. And, you know, when you look at your wrist, you can kind of see, like, you know, the blue vein. My sister Katrina thought that was the black sin, and she was horrified at herself, and she was fucking sobbing when she came home. Good times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why is it always religion that's super fucked up? Jeez.
I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god. I can't believe I almost forgot about this. I was born left-handed, but when I was in like kindergarten, my teacher would give me an F on a paper if I wrote it with my left hand because she said it was the devil's hand. And so I had to train myself to use my right hand so that I wouldn't fail the class. So now I'm right-handed, even though I was born left-handed. I can't
say goodbye to the devil. Say good
about this. Yeah, so now I'm a little bit ambidextrous. There are still some things that are more comfortable with my left hand, but I'm mostly right-handed now. I can't believe I almost forgot about my fucking brainwashing that I got when I was a kid. Holy shit, that just like came rushing back to me. But what about you, Nolan?
It's hard to remember them.
I wish they were more specific, because like childhood is a lot of years.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's super broad. So, like, if they give me like a trigger word to like help me remember a specific thing.
Well, here, how about we come back to that one, and if you remember something, then I'll just like edit it in place.
Yeah.
Right.
Your turn to pick one.
Okay. Let's see. This one. Maybe you could talk. Yeah. That's tempting, but I can't.
Oh, I got some good shit. I got the best shit. Okay,
all right. So this one comes from. Sorry, I just remembered I should do this. This one comes from Crystal at guy named Crystal. Well, like the E is a 3.
They ask, maybe you could talk about any awkward fandom experiences you've had.
Mine, my awkward fandom experience was when I went to the Symbionic Titan Save Symbionic Titan Facebook page. I still love the people I met there, but it was fucking embarrassing.
I was only ever involved with the DeviantArt group for Save Symbionic Titan, but apparently they were connected.
Yeah, no, they're connected. They were run by the same people.
So that's weird.
There was
we almost met years ago.
I was super Skeetos Pro. My page is still up on DeviantArt. I don't use it anymore. Last thing I uploaded was probably in 2015. But this was the first like page that anybody had ever run, and we were trying to figure out like what would get them to reconsider bringing Symbiotic Titan back, and we didn't know at the time that it was over contractual disputes. So even if like it was it wasn't a ratings issue, so we had no chance. But we didn't know that at the time. So what we did was come up with various ways to get people to come and watch the show. See the show or come join. What wound up happening was we came up with an idea for a Facebook role play where we wrote a script for episode 21 of the show, which would be the season 2 premiere. And then using like Facebook accounts, we would pretend we would pretend to be the characters from the show, and we would like go to a Cartoon Network post on Facebook. That's why we did a role play on a Cartoon Network Facebook post, and we role played an entire episode on the anniversary of Symbiotic Titans premiere.
That actually sounds like fun, though. Like,
it was fun, but you have to understand it was kind of fucking cringy at the same time.
I'm sure it was, but like, that sounds like fun.
It was fun. Like, I'm not saying it's not, but like having people go like, who the fuck are these guys? What are they doing? Like, and confusing everybody.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have traded the experience away for the world. But yeah.
Let's see, awkward fandom experiences. I remember I wrote a Naruto fanfiction that got like a relative amount of popularity. It wasn't like a super big, but it was called Akatsuki Vacation, and I think you can still find it on fanfiction.net. And it was my attempt at being funny. It was about the Akatsuki from Naruto, which is like the secret evil terrorist organization that are introduced in Shippuden. But they go on vacation all around America, and shenanigans ensue.
That sounds funny. I like that.
It was really fucking bad. I made active references to the Nostalgia Critic in that fiction. Never mind. Yeah. Actually,
# change the channel.
Let me see if I can find it and just like read a quick little excerpt from it.
Oh god, your fucking thumbnail. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, I deleted all my old fan fictions. I just now
scroll back up.
Yeah?
Proud supporter of the Titan campaign. Oh shit, what up?
Yeah. But yeah, see, cause like, oh my god, I listed out. So this is fucking lost media. You can see the stories I finished, but you can't actually get to them. Akatsuki Vacation, To Save a Dare Show, and Symbiotic Titan Dare Show.
Maybe they're on your DA? It says check out your DA page.
I know that Dare Show isn't on there, but let me check my DA page, because I do know it's still up. I know that I deleted a lot from it, but I think maybe Akatsuki Vacation is still up.
Yep, it's there.
Shit, Akatsuki Vacation is here, everybody! Not the full story, though, because it was 10 chapters, if I'm not mistaken, but, oh my god. Let's read a quick excerpt from... Oh my god, is this how I wrote? Oh no! I didn't do any blocking at all.
Sad.
Would you like to just like pick a random part and read, or do you want me to do it? Do you want me to fucking suffer?
I'm trying to like skim through it here. I'll just go from the top. It was now Kakuzu's turn to drive, and the Akatsuki all knew what that meant. That's right, really old, really already dead and retired bands. Oh, Kakuzu and Pain, who was sitting passenger seat, both were headbanging to "What Is Love?" Oh. Kisame had been smart and brought his laptop and was watching the Nostalgia Critic make fun of Casper. Itachi was solving his newly developed blindness, while Sasori endlessly debated with Haydn about whether the new or the classic TMNT was better. Why are all the Akatsuki such fucking faggots?
I didn't realize that I wrote Ready Player One.
Naruto. This is the Oasis.
This is fucking Big Fat Liar. Fucker has stole my Naruto fanfiction.
Toby was playing with Magi along with Conan, and Deidara was playing Magic Clay. Okay, that's the funniest one. Good job. Wait, I haven't gotten to first base. Hell, I haven't even gotten up to bat, said a voice from the video Kisame was watching. He burst out laughing and started rolling on the floor, laughing. Dude, it wasn't that funny, Daedara said. I'm with Daedara. Then the critic chased around Casper dressed as a Ghostbuster. This made both Daedara and Kisame laugh so hard that it filtered out Kakazu's outdated songs. Will you two shut up? Kakazu said. Yeah, and stop watching that video, Payne chimed in. The NC's fans might rip the writer apart if the story keeps mentioning his videos. And that's the end of our vacation. Ooh, good job breaking the fourth wall there, dude. Fine, Kisame said, but you should really stop breaking the fourth wall. This ain't Samurai Pizza Cats. Did you say Samurai Pizza Cats? I love those guys. They're almost as good as the biker mice from Mars.
Incorrect.
Oh, go to hell,
Samurai
Toby.
Pizza Cats are the best, and I love them.
I don't know what they are.
Okay, so basically they took this anime and then they dubbed it to be a Ninja Turtles ripoff, and it's the best. And the theme song was literally written and performed by someone who was very drunk. So it's like, who do you call when you want some pepperoni? Samurai Pizza Cats are fighting the crime, and you know that ain't baloney. There's Speedy Ceviche, he's the leader of the bunch. He's a heck of a fighter, makes a heck of a lunch. Yeah, it's great. It's a good show.
This is embarrassing, and I wrote World Guardians.
Yeah. Okay, you can keep reading.
Oh, you go to hell, Toby, said Hayden and Sasori in unison, hearing that Toby enjoyed the dreaded rivals of their beloved turtles. Okay, guys, said Payne, observing the map. We're now in Pennsylvania. Oh, no, Toby cried. Dracula. No, that's Transylvania, said Kisame. Hey, Hayden said, I'm from Transylvania, and I find that offensive. Wow. Very inclusive there.
Hayden is not from Transylvania. I don't even know why I wrote that.
That explains a lot, Itachi mumbled. Besides, Hayden continued, Dracula's in Ohio. Ohio, Conan said. No, he's in Wisconsin. Guys, so we began. Where did the sun go? It was 1 p.m., way too early for it to be night, but everyone was too busy bickering about Nosferatu's whereabouts to notice. Nosferatu and Dracula aren't, whatever. Then a big group of bats and pale-looking people started shaking the RV. Floor it, Hayden cried. Kakazu did as he was told, and they sped forward, but the pale people were too fast. All right then, Toby said, his voice suddenly badass. Time for big guns. He pulled a lever and a chair attached to a lazier gun popped out the side, with Toby piloting. Holy... Daedalus yelled. Since when was the RV able to do that? Hayden followed suit. Stop it. Hayden followed suit, smoking a cigarette that seemed to come from nowhere. They blasted their way through the army until finally making it to Kentucky. Wait a sec, Payne said, looking over his map, and the last sparkling vampire was blasted away. If we're in Kentucky, that must mean we passed Ohio. I told you there were vampires in Ohio, Hayden said. What? Okay. That night, okay, Itachi said, pulling out a DVD case. It's time for tonight's motion picture, Dead Space. With that, and Kisame's help, he popped the DVD into the DVD player in the RV had. It's movie time. About an hour later, that was awesome, Daedara cried. Yeah, who'd have think they could put zombies in space and pull it off so it doesn't look stupid, Payne agreed. Toby is scared, Toby said. I told you this movie wasn't good for you, Toby, Daedara said. Just go to bed or something.
The end of chapter 4.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking embarrassing, my dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all learned something here today.
So the other thing I had written was fanfic stories. So I guess this will just be a longer Dumb Words episode, because I had a few stories about fanfictions that I've read that I wanted to tell. A while ago, about a year back, I got an art commission, and someone asked me to. This isn't like a cringy story. It has a happy ending. Someone asked me to do a cover for their Sonic Boom fanfiction, and they didn't really say what it was about. And the drawing of the cover, you can actually find it still on my DeviantArt, is just Sonic and Tails looking at the camera and like a little bit befuddled, and it's nighttime. So, and they asked me to read it too, and I didn't, because I was just like, whatever, I don't have the time for that. And then, years later, and by years later, I mean literally last night, because, I was thinking about how I was a little strapped to Sonic content, and I was kind of being apprehensive about reading the fic, but then I was like, you know what, I'm already fucking going to hell, and I'm already cursed and shit. Whatever. Fuck it. We all have our vices. So, I end up finding this one fic, and called A Sonic Boom Werewolf Story, and I open it up, and right there, smiling back at me, or I guess looking kind of bewildered back at me, is the cover I drew last year. And I'm like, holy shit! I thought I recognized the author name. Now I gotta read this. And I read it. And it was actually, like, really good. And I couldn't find any other Sonic Boom fanfiction that I wanted to read because the rest were either angst or shipping, or like one of them tried to put Enerjack in Sonic Boom, and I was like, no thanks. And so I think I found the only good Sonic Boom fanfiction. And I would have discovered it earlier if I just read it when the person commissioned me, and now I feel really bad. But it's a good fanfiction, so if you're a Sonic Boom fan, then go read a Sonic Boom werewolf story. It's actually, I don't even like WereCon stories, and I liked it, so, hey.
Good work. You did it.
Yeah. Do you have any stories about fanfictions you've read?
Surprisingly, I really wasn't into fanfiction that much, in spite of having written a shit ton of it. I've read like a couple here and there. Like I remember a cool Sonic and Kids Next Door crossover I read, which was actually surprisingly in character from what I remember.
Yeah, I actually still read fanfiction. I mean, it's really hard to find a good one, but when you do, it's a beautiful thing.
The only one I've wanted to read is Blue Sky, the Portal 2 one, which is like one of the heralded as like one of the best of all time.
Really?
Do you like
Yeah, I love Portal 2. It's a great game.
And you haven't read Blue Sky?
No.
Holy fuck, you need to read the first chapter and tell me what you think, because Lord knows you'll want to read more. Oh god, Blue Sky is such a good fucking
Like, I'll put up a fun little graphic. Nolan fanfic recommendations, Blue Sky. Read chapter 1 and then come back next week for our discussion. Okay, so here's a fanfic story from me. So, I think I might have told you this before, Nolan, but I don't think I've told it on recording. So, when I was a big into Ninja Turtles, and not just one big into Ninja Turtles like I am now, I read a whole bunch of Ninja Turtles fanfiction, and there was one that I really liked. And so, like, 3 or 4 months back, I decided, okay, I'll revisit it since, like, I'm thinking about it. And I reread it. It's called Picking Up the Pieces. It's about, like, Donatello losing his memory and also his ability to speak or understand language. So it's like, oh man, what is he gonna do? And it's not a bad fic. It kind of drags in the middle, and the ending is, like, way too long. Like, there's this fucking epilogue. But one thing about the fic really bothered me, though. You want to know what that was?
Yeah, sure. What bothered you about this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan fiction, RoboBuddies at youtube.com?
So, like I said, the fic was about Donatello, and he loses his memory. So, like, he wakes up in a Foot Ninja facility, and there's, like, this whole big sequence where he's, like, escaping. Thing is, since he's lost his memory, he doesn't realize that they're ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
Since they're wearing the full body black mesh suits, he decides that he's gonna call them the black people. And he's like, oh man, I gotta run away from the black people. And then later in the fic, he thinks that Casey and April are secretly Foot Ninjas, so he's like, I don't trust you. You're black people. I don't trust you. How did this happen? Donnie, what the fuck?
I'm assuming it's just a younger person who didn't really understand the context of what they were saying or the implications.
Because, like, it's a decent fic. Apart from that, it could have been written by like a baby child. I know that for sure.
It reminds me of Goku and Anne Frank in Until the End of Time, in that it's completely tone deaf. You could like they wanted to like write a happy fic for Anne Frank, but they didn't realize the implications of it.
Oh god,
that's what that reminds me of.
That's the thing. Oh yeah, and then
you didn't know about Goku and Anne Frank?
No.
You don't know about Goku and Anne Frank Until the End of Time?
No.
Oh my god, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so you're gonna love this.
Oh,
so Anne Frank is writing her diary in her fucking secret annex, like trying to hide from the Nazis and shit. And then all of a sudden, Goku instant transmissions into her fucking room. Keep in mind. Keep in mind.
It's me, Goku.
Hey, it's me, Goku. Hey, it's me. But he's like, oh shit! I accidentally fucking instant transmissioned into fucking Anne Frank world. So Anne Frank is like,
Frank world.
Can you let me fucking finish my epic tale? So basically, Goku needs to rest to recharge his power cells, and Anne Frank like gives him a smooch, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that." And he gives her like a smooch back, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm already married to this fucking bitch named Chi Chi." And then Anne Frank is like, "Fuck my life, this is the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me, Anne Frank." So Goku instant transmissions away again. And then Anne Frank is like, "I'm so sad." And then weeks later, the Nazis come and they go knock knock. Anne Frank goes, "Who's there?" And they're like, "The Nazis, lol." And then Anne Frank is like, "Fuck." So Anne Frank is getting taken away by the Nazis, and then all of a sudden, Goku transports back as Anne Frank is shot in the leg trying to escape the Nazis, and he beats the shit out of the Nazis and gives Anne Frank a sensu bean. So Anne Frank heals, and Goku's like, "I'm gonna put a stop to this right now." So Goku takes Anne Frank to fucking Berlin, and he tells her, "Stay over here, you'll be safe here." And as Hitler's armies are marching down the streets, he completely eviscerates them, him being Goku. And then he's like, "Stop, Adolf Hitler, you can't win." And then Adolf is like, "Oh, excuse me." So Adolf Hitler shows up, and he's like, "Guess what?" Goku's like, "What?" And then fucking Hitler's like, "I'm a Super Saiyan too." So fucking oh, I'm not done. So Hitler was a Super Saiyan. He's like, "Goku, you came here expecting to fight a man, and instead you found a god." And then Goku got the shit beaten out of him by Hitler. And then Goku screams, "This is for love!" And he achieves a new form, Super Ultra Power Saiyan. And with a Kamehameha, he eviscerates Hitler. And that's it. World War II is fucking over. And then 2 years later, Anne and Goku get married. They change their names, and they take a boat to Australia. And then
Dio burns the ship down and steals Goku's body.
And they would always be together until the end of time. And that is the story of Goku and Anne Frank until the end of time. I'm legitimately shocked you never saw this or heard of this before.
I'm actually crying right now. There are fucking literal tears in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm legitimately surprised you've never. My friend Moogie Mikey did it. My friend Moogie Mikey did an excellent animation adaptation, which I highly implore you watch. It's so fucking funny.
Shit! I've never heard of this.
This was the biggest cringe fic ever, and you've never seen. It's as famous as My Immortal, as far as I know.
I've never heard of this.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Yep. Yep.
Oh my god. I feel like I'm dead. Holy shit.
Yep. Oh god, it's so perfect in every way. I also love. Oh yeah, one other one I loved. The Forbidden Fruit, the Hidden Temptation of Edward Cullen.
What?
It was a self-insert Twilight fanfic where Bella is a preppy cheerleader and Edward talks like ye old English. But the rest of the story is Edward going, "Doth love my one true love," and shit like that.
Well, I think like your fucking Anne Frank Goku story is like physically exhausted me. I don't think.
Go watch the cartoon and tell me what you think, and then wash it off with Blue Sky. Read the first chapter and tell me what you think when you have the chance.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess this is it then for the recording, eh? Yeah,
I'll stop sharing the screen. Okay.
All right. That was a lot of fun.
Any parting words before I switch off the recording?
Wake up. Wake up. It's been 10 years. They're waiting for you. Wake up.
Holy shit, no.
But all in all, I think Sonic IDW issue 1 was pretty
That's so
good.
ominous.
So what?
What the fuck are you? They're waiting for you.
I was talking about IDW issue 1. I mean, I really wasn't like trying. I mean, I don't know what you were talking about, but they miss you. I thought like the penciling was okay and the drawings were pretty good, but
I mean, Matt
I think
Hart's gotten better at coloring, and that's at least something. But come back to us. We've always loved you.
I mean, he still has issues with like lighting. Like I remember seeing one issue where the lighting was like coming from multiple sources, and it wasn't like multiple lights either. It just was literally like 2 big light sources. Don't go into the light. You can't, or it'll be the end.